What's up, guys? If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Also, please smash that like button on the video and enjoy the show. You know, one of the things that's really cool about the aftermath of something like this, I want to be careful how I say that, don't twist my words, is you get to see how good some of your guys are in breaking down the analysis. And I want to share this real quickly as a side point. I got a call from Joe Tedeye about 5 minutes into the news coming out. So, you know, the shots, I mean, it was less than 5 minutes. So we were just seeing the footage. They were just reporting it. And for those who don't remember, Joe Tedeye was in episode 149, 185, or 186, and 187. He is a former Special Forces CIA ground branch commando. You know, his job was to go capture or kill on behalf of the CIA. He is about as legit as they come. And Joe Tedeye broke down to a T, when we knew nothing, exactly how far the shots were coming from, where they were coming from, a roof, that it was a single shooter in his opinion, and that it was most likely an AR-15 type weapon, which I wish I had recorded that phone call, because I mean, I don't know if it was a half hour later or something where we first got the video and the first information of the map, but you want to talk about being spot the fuck on? Holy shit. So I was on and off the phone with him. He is also a guy, he has been to a Trump rally before, and as someone who's from that world, he is constantly assessing things around him, and he was very confused at how things went down at this rally because it was a different experience than what he had seen. I also had a chance to speak to Dale Comstock, who has a similar resume to Joe that is actually even longer. He's like Joe's best friend. Dale was also CIA ground branch. He is now essentially like the most well-known mercenary in the world after a 35-year career in the 35-year career in the military, in the Special Forces. One of his many jobs that he is taking on, that he has taken on, is training the Secret Service. And he had a lot to say about that and about the breakdown in protocols here. Remy Adeleke is one guy I haven't spoken to on the phone, Navy SEAL, as I said, but I went back and forth on social posts with him. He also broke this down. This is a guy who spent, I believe, 12 years in the Navy SEALs, much of it overseas. He talked about how they would set, I'm trying to remember the exact footage. I don't want to misquote him, so correct me in the comments if he had a different footage on it, but I think he said it was like up to 2,000 feet perimeters for bullshit type stuff, like forget a president or a senator or something like that. When they were running security over in Yemen and Saudi Arabia and these kinds of places, those are the types of perimeters they took into account. So when you look at the fact that the Secret Service allegedly left this perimeter outside of 400 feet, which is not far, to local law enforcement to handle. I don't care if local law enforcement dropped the ball. You're the fucking Secret Service. Your job is to secure the perimeter. That's what my tax money goes to, and I will happily pay my tax money to that with the expectation that you don't fuck that up. Which leads me to another point. I have not had a chance to speak with Evie Pomporis today. She was on TV this morning. I believe she is headed out of town tomorrow or something like that. So she's probably not going to be able to come on, but I was able to speak to someone who is going to be coming on the podcast. It was already scheduled before this happened, who is actively in the Secret Service and has been in it for over 20 years. And what I'll say is that he didn't defend hardly anything. He broke it down very objectively and very matter of fact. He mentioned some of the things that after it happened were done correctly. He also went through all the things that were done wrong. And holy shit, thank you, whoever just gave me $99. That's insane. Thank you very much. I'm still poor over here, so I really appreciate that. But anyway, you know, the number one thing he said was that the minute a bullet flew, it was already a failure. It's already a failure. Your job is to plan to not fail. I believe that was an exact line he had. If he said it more eloquently than that, I will make sure he corrects that and says it in the way he said it when he's on the podcast. But this was, make no mistake about it, a complete failure. Whether you agree or disagree with a guy like Dan Bongino politically, I don't give a fuck. If you listen to his breakdown of it as a former Secret Service agent, he also had very similar thoughts to my source that I spoke with and discussed how this is a complete breakdown in planning. It is a complete breakdown in the execution afterwards as well. Now, let me be a little more specific there. I'm going to come back to my guy. The pig pile, so to speak, that they did to get on top of the president after it happened seems to have been executed well. The aftermath of that was not. And I'm gonna come back to Trump. I just want to deal with the actual situation right here real quickly. So please bear with me. When they stood him up, the thing my guy was telling me on the phone is that he is a big guy. He's like 6'3.5", he's like 230. And, you can't fault an agent for being 5'10". That's kind of what it is. But he was, we're going to get to his own courageousness in that situation, which he was. But they stood him up and kind of sat him there. And someone was like holding up a hand over his face, like, oh, yeah, this is going to stop shit. That's like a fly swatter. An AR-15 bullet's going right through the hand. I mean, Kennedy's brains got blown out and took out John Connally's hip and wrist. A hand's not doing shit. And they just kind of like held him there and like slowly got him off stage, let him raise his fist. If you saw the footage of the photographer who took the famous shot that is on my thumbnail, which give that guy every fucking award. Evan from the AP, I forget his last name. Sorry about that. But he's already a Pulitzer winner. He'll win another one. We'll come back to that shot. That is the greatest, most perfect picture maybe I've ever seen. I'm sad he had to take it. But if you saw the shot on Twitter, I wish I had Alessi here who could pull up videos, but it's just me. So you're going to have to bear with me, and I got to look it up on Twitter. If you saw the shot on Twitter of his selfie cam, going to get that shot, imagine if there were a second shooter down there. It was a fucking turkey shoot to take out Donald Trump. Now let's juxtapose that with Ronald Reagan. Now, we've seen that video. I forget the full context, but he was like walking through the street. I don't think it was an event. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong about that, please. I don't have Alessi here to fact check. But, if you watch that video, once Reagan gets hit, you never see him again. He's covered. You couldn't get a fucking cruiser to him at that point. Whereas Trump was left out there. Now, I know some people were looking going, damn, if this was prepared like Kennedy, he's gone. And they're right. And that is a point my guy made on the phone. It was even slow to get him to the cruiser right there in the car. And it was just a complete breakdown in protocol. And I say this as a novice. Again, armchair podcaster. I'm not a fucking Secret Service expert. But we all have two eyes and a brain. We can all look and see like, wait, something's a little wrong there, right? To say nothing of the fact that allegedly, and I still have to say allegedly, there's some conflicting information on this, to say nothing of the fact that Trump apparently has been denied extra Secret Service presence. We know RFK has been denied that completely, despite the fact that his fucking uncle and father both had their brains blown out, which is crazy. So you have that as well. Like, everything was wrong. There's no doubt about it. Now, we'll come back to some of this, but let's get to Donald Trump. Now, you have heard me discuss him across the 220 episodes we've done at this point over the last 4.5 years. And thank you to Matthew Bradford for donating right there. I'm going to try to look at comments, but I'm very focused because I'm exhausted. There are bags under my eyes. I'm sorry if I'm rambling on some of these things. I'm not at my best right now, so I'm trying to stay focused. But you've heard me talk about Trump many times. I am someone who is naturally an emotional reaction guy, but I train myself in private to get the emotion out myself and then pull back, go for a walk, take a deep breath, and calmly bring in logic. And so I'm still processing and trying to continue to do that. But we need to put aside politics for a second. And I need to be critical of myself on a couple things here. There are two criticisms, one in particular, that I've often had of Donald Trump. The first one that's like a little bit of a criticism I've done is I've said he's definitely like kind of a tough guy, but some of it's narcissism, bravado, like we don't really know, and that is no longer up for debate. There was a tweet that went very viral right away last night that said something along the lines of, when you talk to combat veterans, to a man, they all tell you learn who someone is when bullets start flying. And as I told you already in this live, I spoke to every heavy pipe hitter I know. And I read that tweet to every one of them. And I first asked them to confirm if they agreed with that. They all said yes. And I said, now give me your thoughts on Donald Trump. And they all said to a man, you cannot fake that. The guy's a fucking dog. When that dude went down, you see that picture. Again, wish I had a Leslie to pull this up. But you see that picture of him on the ground that someone got, looking at his face almost like, holy shit, this just happened. And within 30 seconds of that picture being taken, that motherfucker was brought to his feet, calmly asked where his shoes were, which was kind of funny, then said, wait, and ripped through the fucking 6 people on him, held his fist up, and screamed fight 3 times and kept fist pumping off the stage. That is not a narcissistic reaction. Put yourself in those shoes. There's no performative measures there. That is a shock situation. He was just shot with a bullet in his ear, an attempt on his life. He is reacting to the situation. And his reaction, which is going to lead me to my second main criticism I've had to him, his reaction was to fucking show people strength in that situation. Whether you agree or disagree with him politically, you cannot take that from him. Now, my second criticism I have often had of him is that I believe he loves America. I've never had a doubt about that. The guy definitely loves America. But I've always said, as a narcissist, which he is, I'm not going to change that opinion. He's a textbook narcissist. But I've always said he loves himself more. I don't think I can any longer say that. Because his thought last night when he got up was not to protect himself. It was to look out at 13,000 people who had come there from all walks of life to celebrate him as a candidate and try to propel him to the White House, which is probably already a done deal, and to show them that in the face of the worst thing that has been thrown at him yet, that he was defiant and he was there fighting for them. Whether you agree with his politics or not, that is a fact. And I will tell you, as a human being, please disagree with me in the comments if you feel differently. You cannot fake goosebumps. And I have watched that footage, that 2 minutes and 39 seconds of footage that is showing the whole thing, I don't know how many times. And every fucking time there are goosebumps on my skin when he gets up and says, wait, and holds his fist out and does that. And every fucking time when he's coming off the stage at the top of the steps, right where Evan took that picture, and holds his fist up and goes, boom, 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 goosebumps on my skin. I was taking a bus back from Ocean City, New Jersey. I was celebrating my grandfather's 91st birthday last night. I was taking a bus back to the city today, and I must have watched that 20 times in a row, and every time I'm like taking a temperature on my veins, and it's there. It's just a human reaction. Now, we fight about Donald Trump's politics all the time, and there's a lot to fight about with that. And I've had nuance on that. I'm going to be very clear on what my opinions were. I don't want to run from things. I don't want to run towards a direction of what's popular or what's not, to be a contrarian on purpose or anything like that in the face of this. The best I can do is be honest about what I think and let you guys judge me for it. Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.